you're accused of a crime, the rules can shift in a hurry and usually not in your favor. In this video, I'm going to talk about 10 controversial police tactics. So what are they? The first is what I call the friendly chat. Look, we just want to talk to you. You're not under arrest. Why is that controversial? What's wrong with that? They don't have to advise you of your rights if you're not under arrest. Most cops, of course, know this. And so rather than saying, oh, you have a right to remain silent and that anything you say can be used against you in a court of law, they just say, hey, we're just having a conversation here. Don't worry about it. Well, what you say during that conversation may well be used against you, because the law is that if you're not in custody and if you're not in a circumstance or a situation where a reasonable person would believe themselves to be in custody, they can use those statements. Your lawyer may argue and try to fight, but there's a good chance that stuff's coming in. So be careful what you say. The next thing is what I call consent confusion. Police say, hey, we want to search your car. It doesn't mean that they can search their car, or they'll say, we're going to get a warrant anyway. Now, that doesn't mean that that's true. And so sometimes people are tricked into giving consent and allowing the police to search when they might not be able to search otherwise. And if you consent, and if a judge finds that you've knowingly consented, whatever they find is fair game. And it puts your lawyer in a position of having to argue, oh, gee, my guy didn't understand. It wasn't a knowing consent. For whatever reasons, cops very often are favored by judges, and so that doesn't always work. The next common topic is what I call the bluff. And what's the bluff? Well, police can lie to you, and they can do so legally under many circumstances. So maybe you're a suspect in crime. Police say to you, we got your fingerprints. May not be true. Your DNA is at the scene, or we got video footage of you doing it. All of these things may not be true, but they are designed to have you say, well, the jig's up. I might as well tell them what happened. It may not be up, except for that once you give them information they might not have had previously, it may be. So don't fall for that kind of stuff. The next trick is what I call the long haul. And what is that? They stick some guy in an interrogation room. Why? They let him sit there for hours. I had a client who was kept for 26 hours in an interrogation room without being charged with a crime. He eventually gave a statement, which I was able to keep out because of the length of his detention, because he was held really with no reason for that period of time. But police often do this kind of thing and frequently get away with it. Why do they do it? Because if you're sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, here I am, I'm sitting here at the police station, and you're getting nervous, you're getting twitchy, well, people start to talk. And so that's why they do it. So again, they can keep you for a limited period of time. They can't keep you forever. But when you're sitting there and there's something going on, people get nervous and you may say something that you shouldn't. Don't fall for it. Another classic police trick is what I call the split strategy. What's that? You and your buddy are both in trouble. You're both hauled into the police station or put in separate police cars. Again, the cop says, your buddy told us what happened. Why don't you do yourself a favor? You tell us too, because we already got it from him. We just want to see if your story matches his. Well, your buddy may have said absolutely nothing, but this is a common tactic that police use to try to get people to give them information, to try to talk. And again, you may say something that you're eating those words later. Easy. Don't do it. Another one, heck, I had this happen to somebody I know, is the smell excuse. You're pulled over for whatever, your tag light's busted or whatever. Do I smell weed? Well, that in the instance I'm thinking of, no, there was no weed in the car. There was not even a hint of weed. Why did he do it? Because he wanted to see if the people got nervous, and because cops know that if they smell weed, or if they say they smell weed, that gives them justification in Alabama to search a car, since marijuana is not legal and neither is smokable hemp. The other thing that they sometimes do is they'll go and normally an odor of marijuana doesn't let them search a house. They go to a house and it smells like a meth lab. Well, normally they can't just search a house, but if they're saying, hey, based on my training and experience, I know that meth labs pose not only an environmental risk, but they can blow up, which is they can blow up. And we had to go in because there was a genuine threat to the public and to the safety of other people. It was an emergency situation. Judge, we had to go in. That often works, which is why they do it. But one is the smell excuse, most commonly encountered in vehicle searches. Another trick that cops pull is what is the civil asset forfeiture. Pull you over, they seize a gun, they seize money, they seize something, and they say, oh, that's because it's proceeds from drugs or some other illegal activity. We're either going to keep it or we're going to keep it for safekeeping. Good luck getting this stuff back if you ever do, but that's a police trick, for lack of a better term. The other one is selective body cam use. What's that? Well, again, I've seen this in my cases. Police say, oh, hey, we got video, but they don't. That's a trick. And the other one is the body cam, it turns off at just the wrong or right moment for them. So what's going on? Had a case, search warrant. My guy said, no, you can't come in my house. I'm not giving you consent. Well, they had video of almost everything. But the one key part on the issue of consent, my body cam must have malfunctioned. Really? That saved that guy because they really couldn't show it. Sometimes the judge may believe the cop even without the body cam, but remarkably, body cams sometimes seem to fail at the worst or best possible moment. I had a guy who said, cop opened a can of whoop ass on me. You see the body cam footage, you see cop gets out of the car, you can see him marching towards my client. You hear my client shout something like, hey, you stupid cracker, you mother. All of a sudden, the camera, shh, you get static. Next thing you see is the camera comes back on with my guy being face planted on the hood of the car. My guy said, yeah, I'll tell you what happened. After I called him a cracker piece of, he came over and beat the crap out of me. Oddly, the video shut off right after my client said something. I'm talking to the cop and the chief of police, and I said, we're in the hallway. I said, that was odd how it went off. And the chief of police looked at the cop like, and as did I, we know exactly what happened. I said to the prosecutor, I said, look, your guy got street justice. Your cop, he opened a can of whoop ass on him. I think that's enough here. Case went away. But that kind of thing happens. And usually when those body cams fail, it's not helpful to you. Very common thing is charge stacking. What's charge stacking? And you know what? We're going to throw everything we can on you because what's the theory here? Because, hey, he's going to have to plead to something. Maybe, 9 out of 10 of the charges are baloney. But if there's enough charges, you may just say, I want to get rid of these things. I got to plead to something. And that's the purpose of this charge stacking. I hope you found this video to be helpful. If you want to see more of these videos, hit the subscribe button and do the like and all of that good stuff. Thank you for watching.